welcome to the Movie Bunker podcast. It's me, Matt.
Hello, it's me, Chris.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, and that's it today. There's no special guest today. It's just me and Chris, old school styley. And we picked a film that we've kind of been skirting around for a while, haven't we, really? We've kind of done Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and we've talked about this film in other podcasts quite a bit. But we've never actually done this film, which is, as the title of the podcast says, it is Justice League, right?
Justice League. Here's the trailer.
Yeah. We have to be ready. You, me, the others. There's an attack coming from far away.
Not coming, Bruce. It's already here. The others. Where are they?
Arthur Curry, the Aquaman. It's on him.
Organic and biomechatronic body parts. He's a cyborg.
You should probably move. Barry Allen.
Whoever you're looking for, it's not me. You're the Batman?
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It has to.
What are your superpowers again?
I'm rich.
One thing I can tell you is you got to be free.
My turn.
Come together. Right now. Come together. Right now.
Shall we?
It's good to see you playing well with others again. Just like a bat. I dig it. Maybe temporary. Yeah!
Is this Dawn of Justice? No, that was Batman v Superman, wasn't it?
No, this is Justice League. They kept it to just 2 words, so it's quite easy for everyone to follow. But
Didn't seem to be able to.
just following up on what you said pre the trailer there, yeah, it's one of those movies that everyone's talked about, or everyone still does talk about it, because it's never going to go away, is it? This one, because until the famous or infamous release, the Snyder cut, is done and dusted, and we are potentially going to be getting that now from what people are saying, and I think that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, that's
but
definitely true. Yeah,
it's
like, I follow Zack Snyder, and there's he's released like a couple of steals from newly created footage and stuff. So,
well, I'd love to talk about what potentially that might look like later on in the podcast, but first, let's do the plot synopsis, because that is the format of the podcast. So, fueled by his restored faith in humanity and inspired by Superman's selfless act, Bruce Wayne enlists the help of a newfound ally, Diana Prince, to face an even greater army. Ooh. So, yes, those of you who listen to our Batman and Superman v Superman podcast will know that the Dawn of Justice will be aware that we didn't particularly enjoy it, or there was bits of it, as always, that worked and a lot of it that didn't. Yeah. And so this definitely follows on in that sort of, in that vein, isn't it? It's quite
well, it follows on directly, right? It's like it pretty much bookends straight away afterwards. There's not a lot else that there doesn't appear to be much in the way of passage of time. Superman is dead because of death, and although they do kind of ignore the little bit of dirt drift, right? They kind of ignore that dirt drift happened. And
is this the bit at the end of Batman v Superman?
Yeah, because they cut to his grave and in his little dirt as a little wibble, didn't it?
Right. Yeah.
So they kind of ignore that happened, and they just gone with he is pure dead, just absolutely dead. Couldn't get any deader than this, dead. And Batman in this is real cut up about it, despite the fact that until the last 2.5 seconds of Batman vs Superman, he wanted to kill him himself. But then they had the same name mum and realised that they were the best buds in the whole wide world ever. Until that point, they weren't best buds. But yeah, he's proper cut up about it. He looks quite teary.
It's an odd one, this one. I mean, I've got very few notes because the notes that I wrote down on this movie, and I've seen it about 2 or 3 times. I think I've watched it first when it was first released, sort of either on Sky or Netflix or something a couple of years ago. You bought it?
I bought it.
Oh,
my wife tutted at me when I bought it. I bought it. She went, "What have you done that for?" I'm like, I'm interested in seeing, because I didn't see it in the cinema, and obviously it had been poorly reviewed, and I wasn't a big fan of Batman vs Superman. But then I thought, I've got to, but I did like Wonder Woman, which came out the same year, right? So the Wonder Woman was good. Yeah. Wonder Woman was really good. So I was like, I'm gonna give it a go. It's probably better than a lot of people say. But
are you a fan of Aquaman?
Aqua.
Yeah.
So we can dance around this again. So like yourself, this is possibly the 3rd time I've watched this. And I had an argument with my wife whilst watching this because she declared that she had never seen this before, and I know I forced her to watch this film at least one of those 2 occasions, probably both. So she's like, "I've never seen this film." I was like, "You have. It's just that banal that you've just wiped it from your memory. You just don't remember seeing it." It's like, "No, definitely haven't seen it." And she had a bit of a tête-à-tête. She was like, and then she accused me of watching it with another woman.
Oh God, not that again.
How those things go. And then I had to make my mind. Did I watch it with another woman? No, pretty much.
Oh, hang on, Matt. That's a hot date, isn't it? That is a hot date.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to have a torrid affair, it's going to start off with Justice League.
Oh my God! Right. But I suppose what you're getting at is there's nothing memorable about the movie.
Yeah, I mean, and it does kind of just merge into it. And obviously, at the time when this came out, like I say, we'd had Batman vs Superman, which wasn't great at all. We had Wonder Woman, which was good, but then 3 of the other main characters, the only thing we'd seen of them is what we'd seen in Batman v Superman. Right? It's just a weird kind of. What is it, like found footage CCTV files system kind of thing?
A very lazy plot developing.
Yeah. It was like
process.
Fast forward, quick. Let's catch up on 10 years of Marvel films by finding a file of other things. And so of the main characters we introduced to, we didn't know who 3 of them were. And subsequently, since it has been the Aquaman film, which wasn't terrible, I didn't hate that film. It suffers from some of the same problems as a lot of the DCEU films, but it was good. And I think because of all the multiple viewings of all the DCEU thing, coming back to this film again, it actually made it a little bit better this time out. Because it's almost like I'd watched it in the right order then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. So you've established yourself with Batman, you've with Superman, then you've seen Aquaman and the Wonder Woman thing, and then you can watch this movie and feel a little bit more sort of au fait with the characters and a little bit more sort of at one with the universe, because it's a bit of a pants universe. I mean, I think I've never been a DC fan, to be honest. I find most of the superheroes and the characters in it just a little bit full of themselves in a way. But in terms of the cast, I think there's a few issues with it for me. Ben Affleck, obviously, we talked about last time. He's a decent Batman. I think he still does a decent Batman and a decent Bruce Wayne in this. He's like chiseled, old, and he's been doing it for 20 years. He's
a bit
kind
more
of
sort of Zowie Batman in this, isn't he? He's a bit more zing.
Yeah,
a little less sort of dark and broody, and more of a kind of knock around joke Batman.
Yeah. Still a bit bland. Amy Adams does a good job, I think. Gal Gadot, we've established, is quite capable of pulling the Wonder Woman character off and does it justice. Speak. I've got a real problem with Ezra Miller.
Really?
Jason Momoa. Yeah, no, I don't like him.
Tell me about your Ezra Miller issues.
Well, as a person, as an actor, I don't like him. He's got some suspicious offset and private stuff that is suspicious in terms of his behaviour, and some of his I think he believes in himself far too much. I think he's full of himself, to be honest. And I think it comes across on screen. I mean, I guess he's directed and he's given the scripts and everything. I don't think it's his fault entirely, but I think he's a lame Flash. I don't know what Flash is supposed to be. I don't really know the point of Flash, but for me, he's just not the right. I think it needs.
Obviously, in this is a bit of comic relief, right? But
oh god,
it's a weirdly unbelievable character because he's got these amazing superpowers, and yet sort of zero kind of personality. And no confidence. Not no personality.
That's right.
No confidence in himself.
He's not aware of what he can do yet. I guess that's the thing. But he can run really fast, and when he does run really fast, he runs really, really weirdly. He's got this very long, elongated, weird run.
Yeah, and he's going fast.
Yeah, but it looks weird. Anyway, we'll talk about him later if we've got to. Jason Momoa, I really like him. He's great as Aquaman. He's funny, good bit of casting for me. I'm sure you'll have an opinion on that. Do you?
Yeah, but this is what I was talking about earlier, because if you actually, and the thing is, the reason we probably like it is because of the Aquaman film. Because if you actually look at him in this film, he gets like 3 minutes and maybe about 5 speaking lines. He's not hugely featured in this and doesn't have a massive arc. So I think, a lot of the love for Momoa has come from his standalone Aquaman film, which you can then, this film kind of sucks up some of that, like a little weird leechy sponge of a film, and it kind of sucks up a little bit of that goodwill that you've got. And and I imagine if the Wonder Woman 1984, is it called 1980 something?
Yeah.
If that's good, then it will suck up another little bit of that as well. Like, see, we were good. But yeah, no, he's great, right? That bat thing kind of a running joke was good, like that. That was funny.
Yeah.
Beer swilling. He's the Thor of the piece, right? He's kind of.
Oh yeah, definitely. What do you think of Ray Fisher? Ray Fisher is Cyborg, or Victor Stone, as you would call him if he wasn't Cyborg.
If he wasn't Cyborg, we'd call him Victor Stone. It was a strange character in this, and I think a lot of the contention over the Snyder cut is over kind of his arc. I think there's a lot of it that sort of centers around him in this film.
Yeah, it's sad because he's got nothing. He's got nothing to do. He comes to it late, as you say. We don't see any of his development or growth as a character, learning to live with himself. He's just stuck in a room, looking out the window with his hoodie on. It's really.
Why does he wear a hoodie? This is actually one of my notes. Why does he wear a hoodie?
Especially indoors, if he's not going. I mean, I can imagine him wearing it on outside, but when he's indoors looking out the window or just sat at home, he could just be.
But he wears the hoodie in like 2 or 3 places. Like you say, he goes outside to disguise himself. I have to say, if you're going to put a hoodie on, you might want to put some gaffer tape over the red shining light from the middle of your chest, because hoodie or not, it's a bit, obvious that you're not entirely normal. I don't know if that's words. You can describe a half man, half alien cyborg, but yeah, he's not. It's a shit disguise, is my point. All he needed to do was a nice thick black shirt on, and then he'd be all right. Then another time he's wearing it is after they've been Justice Leaguing. They've been on a battle together, and they're in the Batcave, and he's found his hoodie. And he's got it back on again. And it's like, why?
Well, you didn't notice, Matthew, in the Justice League bits, he had it wrapped around his waist. So he had it on.
It was just a bit hot in the sewers.
He didn't need it.
Fucking hell, it's hot down here. I'm going to take this off and put this over here. Make sure I don't lose my favourite hoodie that one.
The problem with Cyborg is I'm too much used to Teen Titans Go, watching that cartoon and the film, because he's hilarious in that. The characterization of him is
Beast Boy to turn up, right?
he's brilliant. But yeah, the voice acting on Victor Stone in those movies and that cartoon alone, because my kids love that cartoon, is so funny. And so to see this version of Cyborg Victor Stone was a bit sad. Jeremy Irons, I'd like to say, does quite well. And I remember talking about him last time. I do enjoy Jeremy Irons doing a very different take to Alfred, someone who's completely capable, or not capable, but, bossing Batman around and basically having a little bit of one-upmanship against him.
Yeah.
But then it all, Diane Lane is sort of phoning it in. All the stuff with the Amazonian women, are they Amazonians? What are they called?
They are the Amazonians.
Yeah. I thought that was all brilliant. I liked all that. Those little set pieces with those sort of that army, I thought was really nice.
Really?
Yeah. Well, that's me. I didn't know J.K. Simmons was in this. I forgot about him as Commissioner Gordon. But J.K. Simmons, what does he want to get in every single film there is made, or what's his? I mean,
as a wonderful trivia question, it's good, isn't it? Because he's in this as Commissioner Gordon. He was in the original Spider-Man. Jesus, sort of like the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. And now he's back in the new Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson. There you go. Sorry.
That's right.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any other one else that's sort of... the other sort of interesting Geek Fest sort of trivia is the Flash's dad is Dr. Manhattan, isn't he?
Billy Kudrop, yeah.
The CGI has been lambasted as being quite poor, and when you've got your sort of main big bad as a big CGI horned creature, then it has to be good, right? Did you think the CGI in this film was good?
I thought it looked a bit like one of the computer games, fancy computer games where you get the cutscenes inside. It was FMV, wasn't it? That's what you call it. For me,
it was bad. I mean, when you compare, and the thing is, you can't help but compare this film to Infinity War, right? Because it's got roughly the same plot. It's got kind of the same character. I mean, I think potentially Joss Whedon stepped away from having Darkseid as the main bad character, who was coming back for the Zack Snyder cut, apparently. Because if you look him up, he does look incredibly Thanos-y. Now, there's this, obviously, throughout the history, DC and Marvel have quite openly stolen ideas from each other going down the line. And I don't know which one came first, so I'm not going to get into a nerd fest about that. But to have two films launched so close together, which have very similar plots and incredibly similar looking big bad guys, then I can see why Joss Whedon maybe took this decision to step away and Steppen towards Steppenwolf. Because I think, two bullbag-chinned kind of big bad characters would be bad. And just the CGI and Thanos as a character is just amazing, right? It's just like how they've managed to capture Josh Brolin in Thanos, and he's not just a one-dimensional, which Steppenwolf is entirely one-dimensional as a bad character. He's just, as a bad guy, bad character. He just literally turns up, wants to destroy the world. We've not given any reason for that. It's just he's a bad person and he wants to destroy the world and he wants to collect his infinity boxes. Sorry, they're not the infinity boxes, but they look incredibly Infinity Stony, right? He wants to collect them and...
No, I said that's exactly what I wrote down, infinity boxes.
Yeah, it's Infinity Boxes. And I put the Infinity Boxes play Lord of the Rings, because that's kind of the start of it. Instead of the elves and dwarves and man, you had gods and
the three Infinity Boxes were split up, so to speak, and so the Aqua people put one in the water, and the Amazonian people, they put one in a sort of bunker, and then the English men people, they buried it in a hole. In the ground.
And weirdly, it was the one in the hole they found last.
I couldn't believe it that I'd missed this the first time around. They dug a shallow hole and put the box in it, and then said,
the voice
"Oh, that
goes that like the tribes of man got together and decided to hide it so that no one would know where it is." Right? There's like 80 people stood around this hole. There's at least 80 people that know where this fucking box is, really slightly hidden, like as you point out, in a 3-foot dug hole.
Well, they put about as much effort into it as you would do if you buried the house goldfish that had died. It's about the same amount of effort that's gone into burying this box.
Yeah, they've obviously told the other guys, so they've got around after the battle. And to be honest, the people of man, I don't know why they were given a box, because the rest of them were quite flashy and can do shit. And then they went, so we're gonna go bury our box deep within the seas and guard it forevermore. And they're like, all right, okay, yeah. You, Amazonians, what are you going to do? It's like, we'll build a special bunker and forever have an army poised at its tip to guard it from anything. It's like, okay, what about you, man? Oh, yeah, it's something similar. We're definitely going to, no one is going to know where this box is. You wouldn't be able to find this box for love or money. And then what they've done is they've gone back and they've taken bids from local contractors about infinity box hiding. And they've gone with the lowest bid, haven't they? And
yeah,
and they just got some blokes to dig a small hole and throw it in.
Boxhiders.com. They were like the worst. They weren't even on Checkatrade. They were just basically some bloke and someone knows down the pub.
And the best thing about the CGI in this film is that it doesn't even lull you into a false insecurity. It hits you in the opening, before the opening credits, with some of the worst CGI face that anyone's ever seen, because they have like a small clip of Superman talking to a young, starry-eyed fan. And this is obviously after Henry Cavill's gone off to start making another film where he needs a beard. And they've famously CGI'd off his beard.
His moustache.
Yeah, but have made him look like a completely different human being in the process.
Well, this is the famous moustache gate, isn't it? This is he was filming. Was it Mission Impossible? Maybe potentially.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. I don't know.
Man from U.N.C.L.E. One of the two, and yeah, so he had a lovely homegrown moustache, and so yeah, that is the weirdest top lip I've ever seen. But my main issues with this, obviously, as we talked about already, is that it's not had as much time to sort of establish itself, and therefore it always falls short, because this isn't this 10 years or even more worth of storytelling behind it. But they could have started that. They didn't have to. We didn't have to have this movie. We could have had a meet and greet of these characters. We could have had. They didn't have to go and spunk their load to get it out so quickly. They could have taken some time, and I don't understand what the race was all about. I mean, there are loads of silly things that happen in the film that make you think, oh, and there are silly things that happen in the Marvel movies as well, and in movies in general, but they're usually silly for a reason, or you don't care as much because you just invested in the people. So when I see Lois Lane and Diane Lane, Martha Kent in the office having a conversation, which is quite clearly she makes 2 cups of coffee and there's no coffee in these cups at all, because if they're acting, they're concentrating on their lines, fair enough, but this is another bugbear of mine. There's the way they drink out of these cups and the way they hold them, they're just empty props, and it just that wound me out. And so I'm pulled out of that scene because of the empty coffee cups. Yeah. And she's quite clearly stirring nothing. This is Martha stirring an empty cup. When they talk about the insane amount of headbutting that goes on, because why when they choreograph when they choreograph a fighting scene, insert headbutt here? It's just like, oh, it happens so often that you just think, oh, headbutt. They're just continuously walking around headbutting each other. It's so ridiculous.
It's like a Glaswegian pub at turnout time. It's just loads of people running around headbutting each other.
But the other thing as well is that the evil plan to do what?
What is the evil plan?
It's just another. They're basically in an old European town, city, which has a family living there.
One family, right?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they spend so much time establishing that there's a family in this. Well, I guess it's not a lot of time, but there's key scenes where we go down on ground level. Oh, let's see it from the human's perspective. It's like, no, let's not, because it's stupid. It's like they're hiding in the bath. There's all these alien flying insect people hovering around outside this house while they're, bordering it up. It's like, they wouldn't give a fuck if they were there, would they? They would just carry on trying to build the bad stuff.
What's the point in trying to kill the single family when you're going to turn the whole planet into a primordial ooze, I think is what they referred it to, of his original planet. I mean, it doesn't sound like, even an estate agent would have trouble selling the primordial ooze planet. It's got lovely views of a primordial ooze. From here, you can really see the ooze. You can really smell the primeval of it. No, you wouldn't. You'd land and go, well, this is actually probably, if I'm honest with myself, an upgrade from primordial ooze, and go, oh, when we just take over this world and then use it rather than just I'm gonna turn it into a swamp. It's stupid.
It is stupid, and even from the way that the ooze, because we'll refer to it now, is moving around. It's just, what's the purpose? What's the plan? All this establishment right at the beginning, which is very Thanos, isn't it? It's like he goes from world to world, planet to planet, fucks it up, comes away, and it's just, that's boring. Psychopathic megalomaniacs are quite interesting if you give them a bit more of sort of a flaw. I mean, the flaw of this guy is basically what he's made out of, which is shit CGI, and there's nothing else.
Is the premise then that the reason that he decides to, do this now rather than the week before, is because Superman is dead? Is that like the tipping point? Is that what's meant to have happened? It's like, oh, Superman's dead, so there's no one around that can kick my ass. I'm going to go and turn it back into ooze, that planet. And if that's the case, why didn't he do it? Because Superman's only been knocking around the planet for like 20, 30 years, right? Tops. Well, probably, actually, if we're following the DCU timescale, he's actually only been like exposed for 3 years top.
Yeah, exactly.
Why didn't he do it before then? What was stopping him?
Ooze. His feet were stuck to his planet. I mean, the ooze was holding him back.
I'm going to be right with you.
We can't keep talking about the bad stuff. I suppose I would like to try and
one more bad thing. That
really go on then.
Me. So the kind of first Justice League set piece where. And again, this is another sort of jump. And to be fair, like we said, you can kind of, if you watch a Marvel film, you can kind of pull apart the sort of silly plot twerks and stuff. And that's, that will happen. But if you've got enough good stuff, you ignore that bad stuff. If you've got too much bad stuff, you can't ignore the bad stuff, right? So they meet Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Gordon shows them a map and goes, I have no idea where these guys are. And they all go, oh, they're over there. Like literally over his shoulder. He looks over his shoulder and they're going, there's no correlation between any of these points. And it's like, oh, no, it's over there, mate. They all point to that deserted towerette behind you. And they all go down there to have a bit of a ruck. It goes a bit wrong for them and they kind of stuck at the bottom of the big sort of tunnel thing. And they kind of have to then cling to like Batman's vehicle while Cyborg drives it to sort of rescue themselves from the water. Whereas not 2 seconds ago, these fuckers were running around on the walls, jumping 40 foot into the air, bataranging themselves around willy-nilly. Then all of a sudden they can't do that anymore. Just to try and introduce some form of peril.
It's false peril. Yeah, and Aquaman could, even when Aquaman turns up, he doesn't feel like he's not there as he's half-heartedly stopping the water. Oh God! And it doesn't.
There's poo in this water.
when that bloke, Flash guy, when he is going running around in the cylinder thing, and then he falls over. Batman sort of helps him up or something. He's like, "Cheers!" It's like, well, you just fucking fell over. It's ridiculous.
It's not a 4-year-old. Oh, my knee. I don't
know. I mean, there's there's so much wrong with it. I know in Batman's vehicle when he's calling for it, and the thing's so fucking slow. It's like a crap. It's like the slowest, sluggish thing. It's like, oh, I'll be there in a minute. And it's just got, was it like a 4-legged spider machine or something, isn't it?
Crawler.
The crawler.
I mean,
oh
it even sounds slow, right?
Crawler.
Alfred, bring me the crawler. And Alfred goes, oh, I wondered when he was going to ask. And it's like probably because it's going to be fucking hours. You may as well call an Uber, mate, because from where you are, I can see from the map there's 3 Ubers near you that will get to you quicker than this fucking crawler will.
Yeah,
even the crawler's in the next tunnel for some bizarre reason.
When they are trying to get out, and even with Cyclops can't even boot this thing up, can he? He can't even make it into a superpowered crawler.
Cyborg.
Yeah.
He said Cyclops.
Did I? Fuck. Freudian slip there.
He's got
Cyclops.
So it's a bit red.
Oh, God. Well, that just goes to show, doesn't it? I haven't got a clue what I'm fucking talking about. Anyway, yes, let's try and find something good about this film.
Right. There is enough about this film. It's quite clear of the switch in styles because the opening kind of few minutes, and that is really the opening kind of first few minutes, kind of has, a lot of Snyder about it. And if anyone isn't aware, so Zack Snyder started making this film, and then tragically his daughter died, and obviously that put his perspective somewhere else, and he didn't finish the film off. Joss Whedon then took the film over, decided on a few rewrites. Well, it does say it was only in post-production, so it was interesting to see how, but apparently there's a completely different film out there, which is what everyone's banging on about, the Snyder cut. So, but only the only sort of Snyder-ish moments are in the first few minutes where, Superman's dead and you get some slow-mo racist action, which is kind of very typical of Zack Snyder's style. But after that, it does kind of tend to ebb towards more of what you'd expect from Joss Whedon, apart from the fact that it's shit, which is what you don't normally expect from Joss Whedon. So that was odd. But it does, apart from the CGI, it does kind of look pretty, right? It's everything.
Oh, yeah.
Shot well, framed well. The thing I do like about the DC films, I do like the music idents, and I think we've mentioned this before, so it's very clear, the music's really kind of, it does get you going, and in a way the music is actually far superior to the action that it foretells, because you go and you're like, oh yeah, and then nothing really happens.
I can't really tell you anything I enjoyed about the movie, which is a shame.
Not one thing.
Not really. You've touched on a couple of things about how it's shot and stuff like that, but it's vacuous, isn't it? It's empty, plodding, and even if I had watched the Snyder cut, or if this thing exists, how long is it going to be, and why?
It's now going to be a mini series. It's going to be on like HBO. Someone's picked it up. And they've been giving it extra money to do some actual reshoots, because that was always the problem with this Snyder cut, is that they could release it, but it wasn't going to. There's not enough of it out there to complete the film, kind of thing. And so they've actually given him some money to actually finish off like some of the CGI and stuff. So yeah, it's actually going to be a mini series now.
So they're going to intercut the main body of the film in with these extra scenes.
Yeah, from what I can hear, what I've heard and read, it's almost a completely different film.
I don't know.
But the thing is like, right, and people go crazy. I can't see this Snyder cut, right?
You sound just like us.
What do you want to see? It's so bad. He fully directed Batman vs Superman, right? That no one got in on that action, and that was fucking awful, right? So I don't see why people think. Like, it might be good, because, some of Zack's Snyder films, earlier films, have been brilliant. But it's got a 50-50 chance of being both shit and both good. It's, I don't understand why people assume it's going to be brilliant. I don't understand. Maybe it's just hope. Maybe they go, because, it must be horrible if you are, like, a massive DC fan and these films don't really serve your fandom justice as much as your Marvel fan friend over the road is like loving life, walking around in his Thor t-shirt, and then you're kind of hiding in the darkness, cradling your Aquaman doll. It just means that there's just a real desire for it to be good, with no real evidence that it will be.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. If you're a DC person and this is your thing, then this would be a really difficult series of movies to get into. And you'd want, the thing is, we know that fan people, or fan boys and girls, mainly men, I think, of a certain age, are devoted to just their cause and willing almost at their keyboards for things to happen. And most people, would just move on. If something doesn't work for you, you just wait a couple of years, it'll be redone, and hopefully they'll take on board the mistakes that's been made, because everything's rebooted so quickly and rewritten, and you always find something that you will enjoy with your universe, even if it's like a really absorbing computer game. I don't know.
You don't have to force fun into it, right? You don't have to pretend that it's brilliant. So if the Snyder Cut miniseries comes out and is brilliant and met to rave reviews and it makes sense and the CGI is perfect and you care about the villain, which you have to these days. You care about the villain and you care about the heroes, and you want everybody to kind of work it out in a weird way, but obviously ultimately defeat for the bad guy. If that's the case, then this film just kind of has to be expunged from existence, right? It just becomes a weird little oddity.
Hey, Matt, do you want to hear some Twitter stuff?
Yes.
Well, I did ask the question this afternoon. I realised I left it very late for people to actually engage with us on Twitter. But nonetheless, we've got a couple of comments. So Troy Osborne on Twitter said, the worst Flash in existence, which I agree with completely, as you can imagine. I didn't know what existed before, but I realised that this is the only Flash that I know. It's not good. But Matty had a bit of a rant here. Hey, where to start? It's hard to remember anything from the movie as it was so shit. However, that Superman having a race with the Flash is pure cringe, and the mental family living in the nuclear bomb testing area, and Superman pushing their house along the ground out of danger sounds mental, just verbalizing it. Matty didn't like it. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, nice of them to get in touch, so thanks, guys. But yeah, we're kind of agreeing with us in terms of where this movie's going.
Yeah. I think, and maybe just to free up the Snyder Cut, give the Snyder Cut a free run at the world, is that if we keep this film in the bunker, then there will be there'll be only one cut out there of the Justice League, even though it's in a miniseries form, and that's a good thing in the world, because no one needs two cuts of the same film. I think George Lucas proved this with his many fuck ups of the Star Wars film.
Please don't. That's a podcast in itself. One day, I think we may have to do the Phantom Menace, because it's just for the fanboys and for me to get it all off my chest finally as a full after all these years. But yeah, okay, so we can wholeheartedly agree that this Justice League is staying in the bunker, and we're praying to the Snyder gods that he gets to do what he wants, and we get he gets his dream or his visualization out for everyone to see, at least. If it's good,
nice, right?
If it's good, yeah.
It'd be good. Right? It can't possibly be bad. He's never made a bad film. So I got a review. We had a look through. There's billions of 10 out of 10s of people trying to review bands. We may have to drop this feature for modern films. I think anything made after 2010, we probably won't be doing it, because it's all basically review baiting, right? It's all 10s for 10s reasons. This one's just, I liked it. Any 10 out of 10 that has the title, I liked it, it's not a 10 out of 10, right? It wouldn't go,
I enjoyed this.
Someone goes, oh, how's your dinner? You go, oh, I liked it. Could you give me a rating? 10 out of 10. Mwah! Chef's kiss. You wouldn't fucking. It doesn't go together. I liked it. It's like if someone said like after sex, sexy time. How was that for you? And you went, I liked it. Like, you wouldn't expect to see a 10 out of 10 review. Tinder profile, would you? But I'm not sure if that's how Tinder works in terms of I imagine that's the way it goes, right? Mwah! 10 out of 10.
I liked it.
Anyway, there's more. Honestly, everyone complaining about the CGI visuals and stuff just seem uptight. Like, I don't get it, lol. I thought it was fun and funny. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There you go. 20 out of 41 people found that useful, but yeah.
He liked it.
He liked it, and he thoroughly enjoyed it. This just sounds like I would be brilliant to say to someone after sexual intercourse. How was that for you? I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I think you've...
it was
have you
fun
been...
and funny.
Have you been speaking to my wife? That's my wife been talking about.
Even the rest of it, uptight. Like, I don't get it, lol. Yeah, so
Thank you for your time. Okay, well, I think we need to find a pure, cleanse ourselves of DC and all kind of superhero stuff for a while. Okay, so next film will be a film. Well, next podcast episode will be either a film. Well, it will definitely be a film,
right?
We might have a guest. We do have a guest lined up. When that's coming off, I couldn't tell you, but anyway, wait and see. That's the beauty of this podcast. But yeah, you can get involved in all the normal things. So go online, go to Twitter, go to all the social media channels, get on there, like us, and get involved in the conversation that we're having. If you like the podcast and you haven't yet rated us and haven't rated us on any of the platforms that you listen to us on, because there's a few out there, write a review as well, because it always helps us, climb the ladder in terms of the deluge of podcasts that are out there. And
motivated, right? We're just like,
we're motivated. We're motivated to serve you. Also, we've got Patreon, and you can buy us a virtual coffee if you like, just to help us support us put this podcast in your ears every week. And the website address, Matthew, this is your bit.
Clear my throat. www.moviebugpodcast.com.
Oh, your time to shine every week. You grab a star, pull it close. So until next podcast, I think this is probably the best outro I've ever done.
Yes, you nailed it. Don't witter on. Just leave it where it is. Say goodbye.
I can't. Now I've got to go off on one. Something's missing.
I'm saying goodbye. I'm saying yes. Oh, bye-bye.
It's goodbye for me.
Oh, fuck off.
Bye.
Bye.
So yeah, that is the weirdest top lip I've ever seen.
Yeah, it just looks like he looks like the guy from Vacation. Hold on, give me 2 seconds to find out. Ed Helms, not Ed Helms. 1 second, please, listener.
One listener. 1 second, please, one listener.
Not Vacation. What's the other one? Meet the. Oh fuck! It's got her in it though. No, it's got Jennifer Aniston in it. What's the Jennifer Aniston one?
Meet the Turnips. I think if you write "meet the something" in it, you'll probably find it, won't it? Meet the. It begins with T.
It's not meet. It's got that Will guy in it. He gets his dick bitten. We're the Millers.
Oh, that's it.
The guy that he ends up looking like. God, this is round there. Jason Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis. Sudeikis.
Rewind that all the way back.
Sudeikis.
And so basically, the CGI has just made him look like Jason Sudeikis. Because that stupid laugh, I'm gonna have to keep the rest of that shit in now. You absolute moron. Right, fine. Well, there we go.
Do it again. Do it again. No, I don't want to.